focus and mission clarity. Are we focused on the right things? Have we selected the right mission? And is it clear? Do we know exactly what it is we're trying to achieve? I would propose to you that most people don't really know what they're trying to achieve. And you probably don't. I probably don't. If it's really important, sit down and try and write it out. What are the questions we're posing to ourselves? What are the questions we're trying to answer? When you try to write it out, you'll realize how little you understand about it. When you do write it out, you'll realize how quickly the answers come. And they come because, as Wolcott said, chance favors the prepared mind. The mind prepared to see the things that perhaps others have not seen that have been standing right in front of them. My favorite story, to make this real, is one of the most pivotal events in the history of humanity. In fact, if this story had not happened, about half of us would not exist today in this room. There's a fellow named Dr. Fleming. You might know the little story, the kitschy story about how he discovered penicillin, which was the birth of the modern pharmaceutical industry, antibiotics. A lot of people know the funny little story. The story is he was a messy clinician. He went into his lab one day. He was studying bacteria. He looked in the petri dish. Something got in the petri dish and killed the bacteria. And he looked at it and he said, killed the bacteria. Doesn't kill me. Doesn't kill me. He actually did that. I don't recommend you do it at home. Thus was born the modern pharmaceutical industry, because of that one little light bulb, aha, serendipitous moment. That's what most people know about this story. But that is not the insight. That tells you that innovation is serendipitous. You just have to wait for stuff to wash across you, and if you're lucky enough to be in the right place, you'll see it. That is not actually how to think about this story. What most people don't know is the backstory. The backstory was that Fleming was in World War I. In World War I, he saw thousands of people dying of infectious diseases. As a result of this, he created his life's mission to help protect human beings from bacteria. And so in the process of doing his research, he always had that mission in the back of his head. How do I protect human beings from bacteria? And when he saw something get in the petri dish and kill the bacteria, he made the connection, the combination between a capability and a need, because the mission was in mind all the time. And the punchline? Literally hundreds of researchers had seen the same, damn thing happen over and over again for decades, and nobody noticed. In fact, in the 1920s, there was an article published by some of his colleagues to help other clinicians figure out how to stop getting that stupid stuff in the petri dish that keeps killing the bacteria. And nobody figured it out. It's because he had the mission in mind. And when the moment happened, unlike hundreds of other people, he saw it. And if he didn't, half of the people today would not be in this room. So what questions are you asking? And I would ask another question. What are the questions your loved ones, the people important to you, the people on your team, the people at your company, in your home, what are they asking? Have you asked them? Ask them that question. What are the things you're trying to accomplish? Ask that question today in sessions. Talk in the context of not what have I done and how smart I am, although I'm very smart and I'm happy to share that with you. But ask instead, what is it you're trying to discover? What is it you need to know? And then say to yourself, how can I help that person find it? That's about earning serendipity. So another insight from innovation research is live in multiple worlds. This is a self-selected group. I mean, you made the effort to come out to a summit like this with this grandiose title. We have grandiose titles at Kellogg too: Building Global Prosperity, Innovation and Humanity. My God, megalomaniacal. So you came to find out what the heck this was all about and meet people from different backgrounds. So you're already singing the tune. But this is actually deeper. People who, this is a colleague, Ron Bart, brilliant fellow at the University of Chicago. It's a trade school on the south side of Chicago. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Very nice school, in case you ever know. Anyway, he did a brilliant study over a number of years of how people come up with ideas, good ideas. And who are the people that come up with them, what are the characteristics, and how do they get things to happen in the world. And he found a number of interesting things, but two in particular. People who have two or more deep areas of knowledge. I'm not just talking about somebody who kind of likes baseball. that I'm talking about somebody who knows all the stats, knows who played in the World Series in 1976, those pedantic, geeky people who really get into it. I'm talking about that level of knowledge. People who have 2 or more deep knowledge sets are better at coming up with good ideas. Now that could mean, he was studying businesses, that could mean people who know a lot about marketing and a lot about finance. But he found even in business, it could mean someone who knows a lot about marketing and a lot about Italian opera or a lot about baseball. It doesn't matter. 2 or more deep knowledges make you better at coming up with good ideas. And here's the kicker. You can kind of figure out why that might be, right? Because while you have multiple knowledge sets, you can bring new combinations together in ways that others haven't. But here's the kicker. They're better at convincing other people to invest in their ideas. They're better at getting other people to help them. They're better at building teams of people who are ready to stand up and do what we're doing here today. Any guesses as to why that might be? People who have more than one deep knowledge set are better at getting other people to give them money and give them help and manifest their ideas. Why do you think that might be? Yeah?
Because they're not stuck in one paradigm.
Kind of. That has something to do with it. Because if you're very focused, you've got the blinders on, you don't know what's going on the outside, you probably aren't seeing the other people. So that's part of it. Anything else? Yeah?
They speak the language and can convey the value of both sides.
Exactly. They're better able to empathize with others because they have multiple experiences, and they're better able to translate. I hear from R&D and engineering people all the time. I'm an engineer by background and a historian, and I'm schizophrenic. But I hear from engineers at companies a lot. Those dummies in corporate just don't get it. Those idiots in marketing, they don't understand how great this thing is. And I said, you know what, you might be right. They might be idiots, they might be dummies. I can't say, I don't know. But let's assume they're not. And second of all, that doesn't matter, you can't control them. It's your responsibility, or our responsibility, to translate what you've got into their language. It's your responsibility to figure out what your audience needs to hear. It's your responsibility to figure out why this project, this technology, whatever it is you're working on, is going to add significant value in the terms of the business, in the terms of those goofy people in finance and those annoying people in marketing. It's your job to communicate effectively with them. So people who live in multiple worlds are much better at coming up with ideas and selling them to others. And I would recommend then build non-obvious networks. This is a great non-obvious network. Kin Global was created partly to create non-obvious networks. We had people from Juan Manuel Santos, a minister, soon to be president of Colombia, where we based out of town. We had nonprofit leaders like Tom Toohey, sitting in the back, Dreams for Kids, 32 countries worldwide. We had Vice Chairman of Pepsi, the CEO of Anglo Gold Ashanti, the largest gold miner in the world, a whole bunch of real artists at this organization to build non-obvious networks. This is a fun example I like a lot. The Nordic Council of Ministers, not a religious organization, by the way. It's sort of like the EU for the Nordic countries. The innovation lead there, Jørn Andersen, is one of our members at Kin, and he said, you know what, build non-obvious networks. We need to find somewhere in the world with lots of technology and knowledge that's disconnected, that we have no relationship with now, that we can connect with, that others aren't. And he looked around intentionally, and he found a place called Novosibirsk, which I believe means New Siberia. I don't know about you, I didn't like the old Siberia, so God knows I don't want a new one. Well, Stalin created Novosibirsk to put all of his best scientists and mathematicians there and say, go to town, lots of freedom, don't talk to anybody else, but you're free to do whatever you want. And a lot of them are still frozen there.